Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining our webinar today. This is our second webinar in our Algorithmic Insurance webinar series. Today's webinar is entitled as Dynamic Pricing, How AA Island Transformed into an Algorithmic Insurer, which means we have AA Island here with us today. Before we move into the content of the webinar, I wanted to share some housekeeping with you. Today's webinar is being recorded, and the link to the recording will be emailed to all webinar registrants. Also, if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please submit them using the Q&A panel. Without further ado, I would like to hand over to Adam Goldsmith, our Head of Insurance in the UK and Ireland at TIBCO, to introduce our speakers.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much, Judith, and welcome and good morning to everyone on the webinar. So I'm very pleased today to be joined by our fantastic customer, AA Island. So Nina and Colin from the team have done a great job as set a projects with us over the past 12 or so months, and I'm really pleased to have them along today. So thank you very much to you both. I'm also joined by Michael O'Connell from the TIBCO team. He's our Chief Analytics Officer, and we'll be going on to cover with you some of the elements from the TIBCO technology stack that will be have been implemented at the AA Island and indeed are part of the TIBCO Connected Intelligence cloud platform. So the agenda today, I'm going to spend no more than a few minutes on the concept of algorithmic insurance. It's the very much the focal point of this webinar, and we're going to talk about some of the technology that we covered in part one of this webinar series. But the majority today is going to be talking about AA Island's journey to become an algorithmic insurer, and we'll go through the start of that journey through the implementation process and into some of the positive business outcomes that they've realised. Ending really with Q&A from the audience, so please do submit your questions as Judith mentioned. So algorithmic insurance as a concept, this was really the ability to deploy kind of advanced data science techniques such as artificial intelligence and machine learning into a dynamic and real-time environment in order to make better risk decisions and effectively become a more profitable entity. We're seeing a huge rise in the impact of more advanced statistical models within the insurance world. Pricing is obviously a very key kind of area that's adopted this, but there are fraud and claims uses that organisations are taking advantage of as well. And it's really pleasing now to see some of this actually turn into profitable outcomes for many of our customers. So in terms of talking about the actual value of the algorithmic insurance concept, from a fraud perspective, it's the ability to both spot the known fraud, the fraud that you're aware of, and be able to spot that in a more efficient manner, but also adopting perhaps some unsupervised machine learning models to spot the degrees of oddity within a set of either claims or pricing requests to spot fraud that you weren't perhaps aware of. We've got many customers that are effectively breaking down these black box applications that have been within their organisation a store for logic, and often very difficult to change, and inhibits kind of that agility that many organisations are striving for. Obviously, pricing is a key point. It's going to be part of Colin and Nina's presentation later on in this webinar. And effectively, how do you price risk more accurately? How do you dynamically change and bring about more profitable business for your organisation? From the claims perspective, I think both reducing the cost to serve your customer, but indeed giving the customer a much more contextual experience as they engage with you as an organisation. Can drive great customer outcomes, but also reduce the cost of the claims process by achieving some of the algorithmic outcomes. And really here we're not talking about the traditional kind of IT projects that last 12 to 18 months that take an army of people to understand requirements and make changes. And certainly I think Nina will come on to talk about some of the speed at which they're able to come up with new innovations, new ideas, and then actually implement them within the TIBCO platform. Before we go into that, I just wanted to give a perspective on what the industry is saying about the concepts of AI and machine learning. I think Claire Lunn, the fraud director at LV, summed it up incredibly well when she said, if you're not either a leader or indeed a very fast follower, you'll be toast in this market. And I think that's absolutely key, because other insurers will be writing business that you won't be able to touch. There'll be more efficient organisations offering a more accurate price for policies, and I really feel that this is an industry that's moving much faster than we've ever seen previously. That's backed up by the graphic on the top left, where actually 82% of organisations are either discussing a strategy around AI and machine learning, or indeed starting a project or operationally live. And I think the impact of that, if you think about where we were kind of 18 months, 2 years ago as an industry, the red would be very much towards the bottom there, and I think we're seeing that pace of change really coming along very fast, and very fast in a number of different areas as well. So it's not just a pricing or a claims division that are adopting some of these techniques. It's interesting to see that actually customer engagement and looking at lifetime value models for your customer is right up there in terms of how, or at least the areas that are most impacting insurers. So whilst giving that perspective, I think what we'll do now, we'll pass over to Michael to give a view of the TIBCO kind of connected intelligence platform and how that's going to be supporting many of the AI and machine learning use cases that our customers have. So over to you, please, Michael.
Well, good day. I'm Michael O'Connell. I'm going to take us through the TIBCO Connected Intelligence platform as it relates to the Automobile Association of Ireland. The TIBCO platform includes, along the bottom here, the blue section, the interconnect components, connecting data, systems, APIs, people, and processes. And across the top in the orange, what we do with those connected data and systems with visual analytics, predictive and streaming analytics, and embedded analytics. The platform allows one to connect to data, to sense what happens or what has happened historically with those data, to learn from that and take an action. Let's walk through each of these components. In terms of connecting to data, the core product in the stack is TIBCO BusinessWorks, and the analytics components, Spotfire and Steambase, also have many connectors to relational stores, real-time sources, data lakes, specialized systems. In the visual analytics area, Spotfire is used extensively by Automobile Association of Ireland for visualizing data, creating dashboards, wrangling the data as it comes into the Spotfire platform, geoanalytics, predictive, and creating apps for pricing, for fraud, for cross-sell, and so on. The predictive analytics pieces allow you to develop supervised models for patterns you've seen in the past and unsupervised models for patterns you haven't seen. AAI looks at the pricing data and acceptance data in the past and creates a set of generalized linear models that captures the structure in this and optimizes the pricing and the discounting. That's going to be the focus of the presentation today, but they'll also be talking about other sorts of machine learning models that they're building for engaging customers in different parts of the life cycle. The TIBCO predictive analytics capabilities in Statistica, Spotfire, and TIBCO Enterprise Runtime for R allow you to build such models on numeric data, text data, develop models, rules, and manage the life cycle of those models. and finally out to the action part of the of connected intelligence, where you analyze data in the stream as it's flowing to provide live analytics, for example, to push out an offer or a discount or a price for a particular policy as that person is on the website filling in the various forms. The streaming analytic capability of TIBCO Connected Intelligence allows you to connect to that real-time data, process the data in the stream, and provide live data updates, visualizations, and notifications. The products in this area include Live Data Mart, Steambase, and TIBCO BPM. So together, this platform is used effectively by Automobile Association of Ireland for connecting to data, sensing what's happening, learning from that, creating a model, and pushing that into production to take an action. Let's go under the hood a little bit of each of these steps in the context of the work at Automobile Association of Ireland, including this price optimization, along with fraud prevention, customer engagement for smart cross-sell offers, and proactive customer service. Starting with Spotfire for visual analytics. Spotfire's visual analytics palette is extensive, rich, has a lot of inbuilt math for identifying outliers, spotting the fire in the data, presenting KPIs, and effectively communicating and sensing the information in the data. The map chart is an unsung hero of the product, allowing extensive analytics to occur on geographic maps for trade area analysis, route optimization, points in polygons, allowing calculations of census data, for example. And it's very simple to put together a variety of dashboards that capture, in the top right here, interactions with data for customer analytics. In the center top, worker task pairing. Note in the bottom left that we've created wafer maps that are trellisable, marking, filtering, and so on. So the visual palette can be extended quickly with the map chart in non-geographic ways. And then bottom center is an analysis of a campaign. Moving into the predictive analytics area, machine learning, text analytics, statistical process control. Inside of Spotfire, there's a number of inbuilt predictive analytic capabilities based on the TIBCO runtime for R, which is the only commercial instantiation of the R language. And because it's commercially owned by TIBCO, it's embedded in Spotfire, in Steambase, and so on. Statistical Workbench gives a point-and-click capability for building such models. And templates and accelerators are available for all of the above to get you started quickly. Some of the templates available for Spotfire using the TIBCO Runtime R engine include machine learning methods such as boosting and random forests, customer analytics, segmentation, propensity affinity, and a variety of other techniques. The Statistica Data Science Workbench includes thousands of stats, machine learning, deep learning capabilities, and blending data, applying those models, and then managing the resulting rules and models, the full life cycle of those. Combinations of Statistica and Spotfire are also particularly powerful. And then finally, in the streaming side, connecting to real-time data and processing data in the stream, Steambase allows you to bring in data, do calculations on the stream in sliding windows, deploy analytics that you've built on the historical data, and then take an action through a notification and visualize the data flowing in the stream. It's very simple to configure. So this Sigma operator allows you to set up rules or models, results of which determine the notification or the action. The machine learning models that you develop in Statistica or in TIBCO runtime for R can be deployed out into Steambase through PMML nodes or Java for scoring that model in the event stream. And AAI takes full advantage of this, applying the generalized linear models built on the historical data to the event streams for determining the optimal discounts. So that's the TIBCO Connected Intelligence Platform, and now I'll hand it back for folks to walk through the particular deployments at the Automobile Association of Ireland.
Well, fantastic. Thank you, Michael, for providing that overview. It's really useful to get into the platform and into the technology, and obviously talking about some of the use cases there. So that's great. So we're going to talk about. I'm going to pass over to Nina and Colin to talk about the journey that AI Ireland have been on to become an algorithmic insurer. They're going to cover a bit about the organisation and the history, talk about some of the challenges they were facing, what the solution looks like, and then what the plans are for the future. So, Colin, I guess it's over to you with a bit of background on AI Ireland.
Brilliant. Thanks very much, Adam, and hello to everybody. So the first thing I'll do is I'll give a background to AI Ireland, who we are and what we do. So we've been in existence since 1910, and we've kind of traded all the way up to this year. In between, we're a membership company, so we're the yellow vans on the road for anyone that's been in Ireland or England. If someone breaks down, we go out and attend it. We get our customers back on the road. We also sell motor, home, travel insurance, and recently in the last year, we started life insurance. So the journey with TIBCO for us really began, say, in 2016. We separated from our British partner, and at that stage we had a decision to make in terms of software. So at that stage we had the industry standard software in terms of claims models, propensity models, and we had a decision to make, either to stay with our current provider or should we look in the market to see what other software was available. So me, from a purely research background with a research team, I said, let me see what's out there. Let's not be restricted in what is the norm, and let's see what other software is available. We deep dived, we found 4 or 5 softwares that met our requirements, but TIBCO kind of stood above and beyond. The main reasons for us why it stood above and beyond was it's really the power of the platform. It's what we can do. You can build whatever software you want, any code you want, and you can release it onto a really powerful platform. The main things we wanted to achieve as a starting point was GLMs, predictive models, CRM, fraud models, segmentation, and leading on to, say, predictive MI. There was a possible downside, though, and we wanted to really take that involved. And I'm sure if anyone from an insurance background is listening, they'll understand some of these potential traps that they may be worried about. The number one is it's the industry standard software. It's easy, it's out of the box, it's button press. Where building your own, say, software platform, you need to build it, you need to release it, it's operational, and you become in charge of it. You need to basically become a kind of a quasi pricing developer UAT. They're your models. If they fall over in the middle of the night, it's not IT that's going to be called, it's the pricing team. And there's a bit of uncertainty about that. What if it goes wrong? How do you deal with that? From our perspective, the decision that we made is we wanted to go with the opportunity. We saw TIBCO provided a massive opportunity to, first of all, just do the standard, what we've been doing for the last 5 years, but also the potential. To me, it's a platform. You can build whatever you want on it. If you think it, you can build it. Also, the speed we could deliver that. We had people that had never seen the software before that went on training. Within 3 months' time, we were releasing models, and that's a phenomenal turnover for anyone that's not used to building pricing models and release them into a live environment. That typically would be 12 to 16 months with a team of actuaries to do that. To do that with a team of PhDs not from an insurance or coding background, and have models released in 3 months kind of speaks to the power and the easeability of use of the software. So in terms of what we built in the current solution. Do you want to go through this, Nina?
Yes, I'll go through this. Hello, Nina Jensen. Thanks for having us on here today. So I'm Colin is a bit the visionary. I'm the one who actually led the team that implemented this. And so I'll talk about the overall solution design as we have it implemented right now. So as you can see here on the slide, we have a policy administration system there on the left, and our website, who both talk to the insurer schemes to get premiums. We have an integration layer, and then what we're in charge of is that big pink box in the middle, and that's the TIBCO Steambase and TAIR environment. Now in there we've built one Steambase engine that performs optimal pricing, meaning in our case discounting. So what we do is we score each customer when they come in. I'll go in a bit more detail in a second, and determine what kind of discount we want to give them. Also, to do this scoring effectively, we use generalized linear models, and to use those we need to do something with the data before we can score them. So for example, if someone comes in with an age of 37, we want to group them together into an age group of 30 to 39, just as an example. And that's all automated, like all done in real time, all the time. And this banded data, we don't just do it for scoring in the live flow, but we also put it into a data store, and this is all integrated with our data warehouse. We also have our models sitting in the data store outside of the Steambase solution itself, which enables us to do so-called like model hot fixes. So we don't have to change the Steambase live flow at all to deploy a new model. And we control all of this kind of interaction between the models and the data store and the Steambase and TAIR engine. We control all of this through parameters that we set through a Spotfire interface and the TIBCO service, automation services. And so, yes, our team can then look at the Spotfire reports that we get on the model performance. We have a couple of those set up and can see, did our model change as it is scoring in the live flow? Did we see any factors going up or down over the last week or 2 weeks? Which customers have been affected by any changes in the market? How exactly? So we get a lot of kind of reporting MI out of all of this as well, in addition to being able to make changes based on this information. Now, I'll just go into more detail on what I just said to make it hopefully a little less confusing. So up there at the top, we have our live online scoring, which happens. So we get in a quote with the maximum applied commission. We segment our data with a generalized linear model, meaning we score our customers based on their probability to buy a policy with us, and then based on this segmentation, we set a base discount. We also, after setting the base discount, we randomize the discount up or down to be able to do elasticity calculations based on that, and then we give a final price output. So all of that happens in live. But then below there, we have an offline layer, which sits in its own environment. And this layer basically is connected to the data warehouse, and it's always, as often as we want, analyzes the data that came in, refits the predictive models, the GLM, and sends a report based on the performance, as I already mentioned. We also then, I was talking about elasticity calculations for randomized discount flex. Those are all recorded, and we have an automated or semi-automated process that we can run that maximizes based on those elasticities for 1-year income, for 3-year income, or on maximized sales volume. And we can set those discounts based on what we want our strategy to be. And we can change this and play around with it just with Spotfire, and it's very simple and very fast. The usual turnaround here really is a day, and we can deploy a new model. The slowest thing is really just still the sign-off from people, but in terms of operational kind of ease of use, it's really fast.
Perfect. I think we had a very good example of the speed of this around 2 weeks ago. We went to a very aggressive above-the-line campaign where we were offering customers €100 off online, and I went to the team to challenge them to release a model as soon as possible, and we did a new model build where we flexed discounts between channels and set a minimum discount of €100 online within 2 hours. So that's set a model base, build a model, test a model, release the model, and have it in live within 2 hours. It's a phenomenal turnaround. So again, as Nina says, Nina builds the models and I dream them up. So this is my kind of dream for Nina's team for the next year. The big learning I had from the working with TIBCO, we had a lot of the TIBCO support on site and helped us deliver these models at the start. It was the potential. So we are from the separation from the UK looking at, first of all, we're building all of our operational systems on one platform. So where we sold motor, home, membership, travel, and life on different systems, we're all building them under the one banner. With that as well, we're building our data warehouses, and we have this huge opportunity to now start speccing out and see, well, what can we do? We've kind of nailed down optimal pricing, and we're going to be adding more sophistication to that through time once we have these kind of base models built in and operating. We're also in the middle of building kind of fraud applications as well. So this is same kind of methodology in terms of looking at previous data, understanding propensities for customers to commit fraud, and then scoring them as they come in and reacting off the back of that, either passing that information on to an insurer as a score or blocking the customer up front. So that will sit on the same stream base, and it's something we've kind of built the GLM for already. We're also looking at other departments in terms of we're rebuilding CRM models. To me, this is one of the big projects we're kicking off at the moment in the last week or two. It's the models that are required to make CRM sophisticated, and in my mind, that the next level of what's available through our CRM should also sit on a stream-based stack and report off Spotfire. So again, it's propensity models for a customer comes in. What's the propensity for them to cross-sell? What's the propensity of them to convert? How should you next best react to them? I.e., should you follow them up with a text message, an email, an outbound phone call? Through the renewal cycle, again, propensity to renew, when you should contact them, what kind of offers or cross-sell offers you should do through a renewal cycle. So that's a big project we're kicking off, which in my mind, as I said, all sits in which the stream base. Is the big one we're kind of working on at the moment is your embedded customer value. This is, I think a lot of our competitors talk about embedded customer value, but what we mean here is truly line-by-line details. So we spec this out, and we build kind of a light model at the moment, but what that looks like for us will be a combination of 17 GLMs sitting on one, and as a customer comes in, they get a line-by-line, what's the estimated value of that customer in terms of probability to convert, year one income, cancellation, bad debt, cross-sell, tenure of the customer, and how much they're predicted to earn. What this does is you get a nice distribution of values of customers, and you can feed that into your CRM models in terms of what we should be doing from a PPC perspective or a marketing perspective to kind of target and drive more higher value customers into the business. This also takes into account from, say, the insurer perspective as well, risk cost models and how they'll build into, if you attract the wrong customer, future rate, and how you'll lose those customers with the lower retention rate in future years. Again, as well, what we're building in as well is trying to build in kind of a full holistic view and build in the kind of predictive capacity of our call center. So around 50% of our sales come through our call center at the moment, and say from a marketing perspective, there's not much point in going above the line or pushing heavy marketing campaigns or spending a lot on PPC at the start of a renewal month where you know your call center is going to be heavily under pressure from renewal calls coming in. All of these need to not be built individually as well. They need to talk to each other. There's no point in marketing targeting segments that from an insurer perspective are of a low value or they've high claims frequencies, or that say we don't have discounts. So the CRM model needs to talk to the fraud model, needs to talk to the call center model, needs to talk to the optimal pricing model. They all need to talk to each other and have one aligned strategic target and value the same customers in the same way. Otherwise, you have separate departments targeting and behaving in a different manner, and you don't get anywhere. Also off the back of that as well is there's a huge demand across our business for MI. It's something previously, 5 years ago, you'd produce daily packs and weekly packs, stamp them in PDFs and release them to the business. That simply just does not suffice anymore. We're inundated with demands, and I either can hire a load of quants to continuously build MI for different departments, or I can look at trying to operationally democratize data. And how I mean that is that if someone wants to carry out a piece of analysis, typically it's the same people asking for the same things. Why did conversion drop off? Why did this campaign not work well? What's the 3-year view of that campaign? The tasks are usually very generalized, and it's the same analytic tools and analytic practices that we put in play. What I'm challenging Nina's team now to do is let's automate that. Let's create what I'm trying to phrase as predictive MI, where we release a link. They get, instead of a flat PDF, they get an MI that's interactive, that they can scope out and view as they would want to view it, and that becomes their template of how they view how their company or how their campaigns are running. But also, say if conversions after dropping off in the last few weeks, they can click on the conversion graph and click a Why Me button. In the background, the GLM will run and tell you the main 3 or 4 or 5 factors that are predictive of why this stat or trend has happened and what you can do to address that. What that does is frees up my time for a lot of the more basic ad hoc tasks, and allows them freed up more to build these kind of sophisticated models on the TIBCO platform. So in terms of positive business outcomes, as I said, we're kind of halfway through our kind of pricing strategy. We've released membership, new business and renewals on the TIBCO platform. Motor new business, which is probably one of our biggest and the biggest uplift we're going to realise, has been released in the last month and a half. Motor renewals is going to go live in around another month and a half. Home, travel, life will all follow. So again, it's baby steps for us. We're trying to get a model on that's very robust and is not fully automated, but we can react to, and it spits us out suggestions, and we can release the models, as I said, very, very quick to live. So it's really to optimize our trading performance and try and either grow our book aggressively or grow profitability aggressively. Either one can be optimized. And the real-time predictive analysis is, we've already started to build that, and we produce that, especially to some of our partners who are blown away by it. We had data been updated every 2 minutes, and they could see breakdowns happening in live environment on a dashboard in Ireland, the type of breakdowns and predictive MI off the back of it. It's gone down a treat, and I think from an analytics perspective, a lot of what the company sees is MI, the models and all that they kind of expect from analytics departments to optimize profit and volume. What you really sell with my department is how you integrate an MI, and if you produce flat MI and our exec layer look at that and then go to another company and see very dynamic integrated MI, it doesn't reflect very well on me. So my marketing for analytics needs to come through this predictive MI, and I think the Spotfire provides that very, very well. The complex event processing platform is basically what I've kind of gone through a minute ago. That's integrating all the different kind of business aspects and how we can mathematically and operationally get them onto the one platform that are talking to each other. Big advancements in that is it's easy to release them. They're low-code environments. We can get them so we build a platform that has a lot of code, a lot of GLMs in the background, but releases that marketing still have some control. They don't need to have that level of sophistication in terms of understanding the maths. They can just understand what's happening, what are the hypothetical changes that I could make, and which one should I go with, and they can interact with that. Highly responsive. As I said, we can release models extremely quickly, and it's a completely scalable platform. Once you get one model on there and you have that data flowing around in a live environment, it's easy to add on more models that still use the same data and talk to each other. That's it from our side.
Brilliant, fantastic. Well, look, thank you very much to both of you. I think it's fantastic for me, I guess for me personally, to see how far you guys have come since last summer when you started this project, and yeah, that you've seen some fantastic results right the way through the program. So I've actually got a couple of quick questions myself, and then I'll pass on to I know there's obviously a few come in via the WebEx. So Colin, perhaps the first to you there, talking about the kind of future view, and it's very interesting to see that you're bringing in more models outside of kind of just pure pricing into the platform. Was that your intention from the beginning, or are you seeing that kind of manifest itself as you've adopted the platform as you've gone?
To be honest, when we got the platform originally, it was purely to do pricing. We were wanting to, we had software that did it from a more basic point of view, and the challenge I had was, okay, Colin, build what we have. Now, I think when I sat down and talked and engaged with you and your team, we realized that we could go a step further and create it more so that it's more optimized and it updates itself. The big thing, it's easy to release models, but it takes a lot to update them. The market is extremely dynamic at the moment, and price and marketing campaigns are changing by the week. So it's not good enough to have a team create a GLM. It's very predictive, and you release it live and you look at it 3 months, 6 months time. I'd like that to be running every week and telling me what's happened rather than having a team going after that. So that was kind of the big first up learning for me was, okay, well, that's brilliant. Let's build that into a live environment and get my pricing models up. What I've learned since then is just when I walk around the business and someone tells me what they're trying to build, the first question I ask is, well, wait a minute, couldn't that be built on the same platform using the same data? And let's not try and build that as a flat process. How can we build more of a kind of a optimization process in that? So it's kind of made me look at a lot of business operations and processes in a different light and seeing what's the potential. I'm annoying a lot of departments now, joining their meetings where I probably shouldn't, and taking over some of their processes. But I think it's hugely important from the business platform. And once you have trained up your people and they get used to the platform, which isn't a big step, it happens very, very quickly. It's easy to build new models and get them talking to other models and make processes that for other departments are big and time consuming and ones that they don't fully understand into more operationalized, optimized processes. So yes, I've only started to touch on it. At the moment, as I said, it's CRM and predictive analytics are my big two. I'm sure if you talk to me in 6 months' time, I'm going to have another 5 or 6 things that are going to be my new hot topics that I'll be
Well, it sounds like you're inviting yourself back to another webinar, Colin. So, yeah, no, we absolutely will do. It's great to hear. And I think the example you brought up about being able to choose a new pricing model in a couple of hours on the back of my marketing campaign is just great to hear from a business agility perspective. And I guess when you talk about kind of that need for more MI and the ability to be more reactive, are you seeing your business teams realizing that actually now they can be more innovative and deliver that innovation more quickly?
Definitely. As I said, the market's extremely dynamic. The insurance market goes through these cycles, and we're at the start of one of the cycles. So there's a huge amount of competition after joining the market, and it's become extremely dynamic. What happens in these markets is you have director of sales, you have a lot of marketing teams and online teams all coming demanding data to react to these kind of markets. It's too cumbersome to have teams sitting there trying to produce these ad hoc, and I don't think it's fair is probably the word I'd say as well, that I silo all the data off and release it at will, like I'm a hostage, being a hostage to the data. The way forward is to democratize it and free it up for them, that they have instant access to it, that as the data comes in a live environment, that they can access it and react to it. Just frees up them to become more efficient as well. And you know, the thing you have as well by bringing it through that platform is everyone's looking at the one type of data. I've worked in different companies before where everyone looks at different views of the data, and you go into meetings and someone's saying this number is this, and another team will say, well, no, I'm seeing this number is this. If it comes from the one place through the one platform, and it's just a template, a different template that each one is looking at, because the online persons only want to know what is happening online, where someone over a call center wants to know all about, you know, agent MI, what's happening from his view. But as long as it's off the one platform, it's the one standardized data set that we're all talking off the same page.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. That's a really, really great overview. So I've just gone to where we are on time. So Judith, are there any questions from the audience at all?
Yeah, there have been a few coming in indeed, and I just wanted to reassure anyone in the audience that if you have questions, please post them in, and we'll get back to you offline if we run out of time today. So there's one question here which we touched upon a bit, but someone is interested in details or examples. It says, are you doing any work around advanced AI and machine learning? Can you give a few real-life examples?
Right, so we haven't done anything just yet. As Colin said, there's a lot to come. But so for pricing from a regulator's perspective, we need to stick with GLMs, with mathematical models. A lot of other advanced machine learning models like tree boosting, those kinds of things, neural nets even, they're a bit black box. And I know the insurance market, as Adam mentioned at the beginning, is moving quickly towards them. And once this happens, we'll be ready for them because TAIR gives us the opportunity to build any model we want and implement it using Steambase. But right now, we're sticking to the GLMs. We do have some kind of learning, I suppose, auto-learning element with those GLMs in that they automatically refit every week and adjust themselves to the market when needed. But in terms of neural nets or other kind of unsupervised learning methodologies, I'd say there'll be a lot of potential once we move to CRM or call center capacity to use those kinds of models to identify clusters, segments that we can touch on.
I think from my perspective, there's always a trade-off. It's yes, from running something offline and trying to get some learning, the really good part is anything you can get on OR. If you go onto a blog, that code you can just put into a Steambase platform and you can run it and you get it. So it's very easy to implement on TIBCO software. But I guess I'm a bit old school here. I want to know why something's changed, and GLMs are a very good way of doing that. It's for me, I don't want to know that my conversion changed from this to this %. I want to know the relativities that cause this. If someone in the market's aggressively going after 20 to 25-year-olds, I want to know that relativity changed. So there's always a trade-off, I think, between pure kind of stats predictive modeling, where you understand and you can get deep in the skin of things, versus machine learning AI. They definitely have their place, and I definitely think from a kind of analytics offline perspective, we'll definitely lean on those. Also, probably from a scenario-based event. So it's let's take a model offline and let's run hypothetical scenarios through it and let me know the outcomes of those hypothetical scenarios based on our inputs. Definitely benefit in that, and we're doing those offline at the moment, and we're creating cluster models offline. But in terms of the online pricing and on the online, I think from a pure insurance perspective, people always want to know what's going on under the hood.
Great, thank you. I picked one more question, which reads, how have you managed the adoption of this technology from an operational standpoint?
Yeah, that's a very, very good question, because that is indeed a big challenge. This is quite a new way of doing things. As Colin mentioned in the beginning, most companies use standardized, out-of-the-box pricing platforms, and it's all ready to go, and IT ops deal with the rest, and testing deals with the rest. We have to be, as a pricing team, a lot more involved in this process and work together with IT very closely, with UAT very closely. And in the beginning, we did this by doing very small steps, just to build trust in the IT department, and also through environment design. So as I mentioned earlier, we have this offline part, which is really where all the interesting things happen from a pricing perspective, but this is in our own pricing environment. It doesn't sit in production or anything like that. The production part of it is still very light. It's just Steambase scoring, and IT ops manages it closely together with us, but still they're comfortable with it. We taught them. We have a dedicated IT person who understands what the model does quite well, and that helps a lot. Also, we help them out by building Spotfire reports, then control, copying new models over from, say, this pricing environment to the production environment in a very safe and controlled way. There's a sign-off process. All of this is implemented in Spotfire so that very little can go wrong, and IT is really confident that this works well every time. But yes, the downside, of course, there is that we do have to be a lot more involved in all of this and stay late nights if there's a big release. But it's all been worth it so far.
Yes, I think there's huge benefits from both sides. There was definitely trust issues at the start where IT don't like getting models handed over to them without their insight into it. I guess from my side of the fence, and I think what they're learning now is that your models are so much more robust. Previously, if IT build a model, first of all, they don't really understand the business aspects of the model of what it's meant to do. Then when they carry out full end-to-end regression testing on it, they're only going to test a handful of cases because it's someone manually putting in a test case and getting the results and passing it back to my team to sign off. What we now have set up is that we can build our model and we can run hundreds of thousands of test cases offline and get a Spotfire report off the back of it, understand exactly all possible combinations of permutations through that model. So instead of testing 10, 20 cases, you can test 100,000 cases. You can also carry out scenario analysis offline. What that gives is a lot more confidence, a lot more vision for the company in terms of execs wanting to know what if analysis, what if we increased, what if we decreased, what would this do to volume, what would this do to a call center. So your business gets a lot better insight. It takes a lot of pressure off IT. They didn't want to release the grip, I think, at the start, but now they're seeing, wait a minute, our UAT teams and our dev teams aren't getting annoyed by pricing anymore, which is a great thing for them. But yes, it's definitely built a lot of strong relationships between IT and our pricing team, and that's kind of one of the things you need to be conscious of. You need to have people that are willing to engage on both sides, but once that happens, I think there's huge benefits on both sides in terms of resource saving and in terms of a lot more robust, transparent processes.
Thank you so much, Paul and Adam and all of our speakers, and Nina, Michael, and thanks for attending our webinar as well. I just wanted to encourage our audience to share their feedback, give us any ideas and ideas for new webinars and topics that you would like us to talk about. And also, if you'd like to learn more about the algorithmic insurance concept and how TIBCO's connected intelligence platform can support that concept, then please visit our website where we have a dedicated solutions page on algorithmic insurance.
Brilliant. Thank you, Judith. Colin, Nina, really appreciate you sharing your story today. It was fantastic and really great to get the insight. And look, we wish you the best of luck with the project going forward, and happy to support you as well you need. So thanks all, and we look forward to speaking with you next time.
Thanks very much, Adam, and thanks for all your support to date. As I said previously, massive support from TIBCO to start. Really made it very, very easy to transform onto the platform. A lot of late nights by your team making sure everything was released and was very, very smooth. So thank you very much for all your support.
Our pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.